So we have Elay here from Polli. I am stoked to be hanging out for our Cosmoverse side events here in the Passage Oasis, brought to you by the Accelerator DAO. Stoked to be hanging out. Really excited to hear more about you guys, what you guys are doing. If you just want to kind of intro yourself and then jump right into things.
Sure. So again, Lex, thank you for presenting me. So my name is Eli, from Elay Carmon from Polli, founder and CEO. And a little bit about Polli and what we do. So Polli is a staking optimization platform. Currently, we focus on the Cosmos Hub ecosystem, and at the moment, we do staking optimization for Atom, and soon to launch two more networks within the Cosmos ecosystem. We also currently we have Ethereum validator view only on our system, and we focus on basically helping delegators
Mm.
efficientize their staking operation. Making more profitable, more efficient, mostly more efficient. I want to say. We put a lot of emphasis on visuals, on UI, on making dashboards that make the staking process very, very much clearer. I want to say we're currently at closed beta, so obviously everyone who wants to join or take a look, you can either kind of check us out at polli.co and just drop your email, or you could hit us up through the Passage group, and I'd love to approve you guys. What we're going to be speaking about today is really kind of what we do at Polli around staking optimization currently on Atom. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. So what is staking optimization and how do we do it? So essentially, staking optimization means for us is how do we maximize the efficiency of the native staking optimization process. So the way that we see it, there are three main components to this. So first of all, and I kind of want to say the obvious one would be compounding. But what is compounding? Compounding essentially, like everyone knows, it's taking the rewards which were earned and ready for claim, and just redelegating them into our wallets, and basically locking up more tokens so we could generate more rewards. Now, seems very straightforward. In the world of crypto, there are many factors that are not being taken into consideration, which we thought about how can we deliver even more for our users. So the way that we do that is by automatically calculating intervals to maximize returns, and the intervals which we calculate are basically avoiding diminishing rewards due to gas fees. So imagine that you're claiming, could be a big wallet, could be a small wallet, but if I would do it once a day, I'd set it for like automated once a day or once a week. I could be getting diminishing rewards due to gas fees, and it wouldn't necessarily be efficient. So one of the things that we do is we look for the optimal period to really kind of call it redelegate the claimable rewards back into the wallet according to gas fees, as well as block heights and what would be the optimal block rates. So really that the users could generate the maximized reward rate for their compounding action. So that's the first one. But where it starts to get really interesting is through our validator optimization and redelegation. So from a validator optimization perspective, when a user comes to Polli, first of all, they enter the amount that they want to delegate, and then we have about 4 prerequisites that the user can select to choose or not. And those 4 are maximize APR, minimize commission, work with trusted validators, and support decentralization. Now, once the user basically selects those 4, then we're going to move on to our validator selection page. Over there, we select validators based on our scoring mechanism, our scoring mechanism is based on the actual APR that the validators are generating, their commission rates, their voting power, and of course their performance based on operation time. Now, again, this varies between chain to chain, but from a performance perspective, we look at block creation rates, uptime, and other indicators. So that's currently our scoring mechanism, which we're about to make much more enhanced and I want to say more sophisticated. At the moment, it's based again. It is as objective as it gets. We're looking, we're scanning the whole validator set of the network and really kind of seeing it, which at the moment where the user wants to delegate, then we basically recommend those selections. We recommend a list of 5. Of course, the user can remove and add as much as they want. They also have the full validator list to choose from if they didn't like our selections and they do want to go with other selections which they made. So, of course, nothing is forced, God forbid, or anything. And then, of course, within that list, we also have notifications, things to pay attention for a validator. So, for example, if a validator's uptime has been relatively short compared to the all over kind of validator days, like let's say a validator has been up for like 10 days out of 1,000 days, that's something that the user is going to get notified. If there's a high commission rate compared to other validators, the user is going to get notified about that. So that's how we basically create the scoring mechanism. And like I said, we're about to make it much more enhanced and much more sophisticated. And then lastly, I want to talk about our auto redelegation prompts. So after the user has basically selected their validator sets and approved our dynamic compounding and automated redelegation, which are based on auth-z, so basically enabling the grants, our automated redelegation mechanism is going to currently constantly look for 3 main things. First of all, is front run slashing events. So basically like front run slashing events compared to other validators. So let's say we have an inactivity for a long period of time or lower than expected uptime would prompt an automated redelegation. Another is increased commission rates. So all of a sudden a validator just decides to increase commissions. Then we're also going to redelegate that to really keep the optimal rate for the user. And then of course, centralized voting power. So if a validator's voting power is too big compared to others, we are gonna redelegate it to incentivize decentralization and support that. Again, of course, that has to stand in line with all the other parameters, meaning that if all the other parameters are good, we wouldn't necessarily auto redelegate. So again, that's something to kind of like for the algorithm to decide and really see when that happens. Now, why is this important in the staking mechanism and the ongoing staking mechanism? So most users, when they do stake, they stake into usually one validator, which means that they're prone to that validator's performance or decisions. Now, let's say that a validator's uptime, I don't know, it's 1 a.m., no one's around, and all of a sudden validator goes down and they don't necessarily have another set of nodes to, support them or backup nodes. So what's going to happen is, that validator is going to get slashed. They're going to be kept out of the staking sequence for about 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, they would have to log back on. Now, if that happens, let's say in the middle of the night, that could result in them not seeing that for a few hours, which would impact the reward generation sequence. So one of the things that our mechanism does is it maintains consistency within the staking mechanism. So that's something that actually I would say no single validator could actually do, and that actually really does, of course, support the delegators and the protocol, of course, because for the delegators, it maximizes their returns and really keeps their investments safe and really and backing up their returns. And of course, for the protocol, this means that the security is ongoing, and meaning that the delegated tokens are constantly being put to work. That's pretty much it about our staking optimization mechanism.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
If anybody has questions, definitely jump up and down and as a form of raising your hand. But like when you're starting to say like why is this necessary? it's just so obvious too. I feel like when it comes to the amount of probably everybody in this room has experienced like they've joined a community, they've picked up a new token, and they jump in the Discord and they're like, what validators do people like? You know what I mean? Like they're trying to crowdsource information for like who are the good validators, who's done well, who's trustworthy, and there's definitely some on-chain stuff. But like, are you going to look up on-chain metrics for every single validator? If someone's got 100 validators on their chain, it's really tough. And then, like you're saying, things can change, right? Somebody's commission can change. You can have one of those validators that gets you all excited because there's 0% commission, but they just use that as a way to get a bunch of people onboarded, and then they hike it up to 10, 15%. Or all these things, right? Like you said, I love the front running slashing events. But also just, it's one of those things where it's hard for people who are already taking ownership of their assets and they're staking and they're using decentralized assets. There's already so many steps involved, right? This idea of like then maintaining that stake, and it's like, well, I'm gonna switch to this validator because now this one just got into the top 10 and I really want to at least move some away to a lower validator, things like that. And maybe you've got a new validator on the scene who's done really, really well on other chains, but you don't know anything about that, and they're in like they're in 101 position, right? Like they could be in the whatever. There's so many things that like I feel like this could really help with, where people just express their preference. Here's the kind of validators I want to stake with. Here's the spread I want to have across different validators. And again, like you said, you can optimize for fees, you can optimize for all these different metrics, but just having some kind of service that's doing this for you instead of having to do all of this manually and all the manual research involved, that's huge. So I mean, I saw it right away, just as you're kind of describing this.
Thank you. And it's also important for me to mention, the team, myself and the team, have had, we've been in crypto for more than a decade now. And me personally, I've been staking for 4 years, and people on the team also staking for 2, 3 years. And these are things, that we've been dealing with. We saw how much time consumption it's taking. Yeah. And I mean, it's a game changer. It really is a game changer when it comes to the actual staking mechanism, and this is like something that really, as people who come from the crypto, kind of want to say that really grew up in the crypto sphere for a long time. And, it's, first of all, obviously, we do want to do well by ourselves, but obviously, it's also about how do we contribute and give back to the community. And these are things that, we really did put a lot of emphasis in. And kind of it really did grow. What I'm trying to say is that it really grew from our personal kind of pain points and personal problems which we felt, and then we see kind of this need becoming a much more obvious thing. So of course, we are working hard to make this even better as much as we possibly can, and it's exciting. It's very, very exciting to see the results.
Very much so. Well, and it only becomes more of a need as we're driving more users into Cosmos, right? As we're driving more people into the ecosystem, because now there's more chains, there's more validators, there's more data to sift through, right? And so we need good tools that help with the cross-chain experience, right? And there's nothing that's more cross-chain than me staking across 10, 20 different chains, right? It's such a personal experience. And then, okay, if I've got 10 tokens in the Cosmos ecosystem, and I've got 3 to 5 validators that I'm delegating to, across each one, I mean, it's a lot, right? And again, so it only becomes more relevant and more important as we see traction, as we're growing in the ecosystem. When it was just a handful of chains, no biggie, right? But every single day we're seeing development and growth in the ecosystem, and it's only going to become more so. These interchain tools are just going to be absolutely fundamental to making any of this feasible long term.
Absolutely. And just kind of one more thing to say, Lex, our mission is basically to really, how do we optimize staking for, like you said, multi-chain, cross-chain. Those are things that we're really, really looking for, again, to maximize efficiency for, kind of find the optimum for maximizing efficiency for the delegators in the form of, maximizing yields, and while mitigating them from risks, from slashing events, etc. And then at the same time, how do we contribute to protocols? And then for their security protocols, And I would even dare say that now we've even started to really look into how can we also assist validators in optimizing their operation, because at the end of the day, if we get to this optimum of a win-win-win situation, I feel that's kind of the golden optimal place we're looking to reach
Yes.
in what we're doing. Yeah.
And that's not even, I just thought of this too. Teams, founding teams need this because the idea of, and they can publish, hey, here is our Polyco standards, right? If you don't meet these standards, you will lose your foundation delegation, right? So like, immediate redelegation if you go above a certain, commission rate or below a certain commission rate. Um, and trying to balance across the widest possible spread of validators who meet that criteria. Like, there's so many things for foundations, I would say, where like they've got a ton of tokens to manage, and like, this is probably a future oriented thing, but being able to factor in like multi-sig wallets and things like that into this, again, it could be really interesting because the whole, for a team that's trying to prioritize security and good processes, managing foundation delegations can be a huge pain in the butt, and everyone takes it really personally too, because it's like, you get these validators on board when you're just starting up a project, and they're betting on you. People are putting their infrastructure into this, and they're putting their time in, not knowing, necessarily how well will the chain do. Will it perform? Will it create value? Will it attract users? Things like that. And so it may be something where in time you can just create clarity for validators coming onto a chain. They know, hey, here's the standards. It's all automated, right? So it's not personal. For jumping on first, you'll have, maybe a extra priority, right? For a certain duration. We'll make sure that you get a certain amount of stake for this amount of time, as long as you meet these criteria, right? And then after that, there's going to be a more democratic spread across whoever comes into the active set, things like that. So again, I see this being a super useful tool for individuals delegating staking into an ecosystem, as well as teams. A lot of areas where I could see this being very powerful.
Yeah. So again, I mean, our focus right now, our offering really kind of goes. We're more of a B2B
Yeah.
platform,
Yeah.
where we basically want to serve. The actual protocols.
Right.
Protocols through them, offer become like an official third-party staking tool for protocols. Then potentially, like you said, for teams and foundations to really kind of manage their staking in a more efficient way. Validators as well is also something that we are really, really curious and interested to get into. And of course, institutional investors is also a big crowd that we're catering for. So yeah, everything that, I mean, completely agree with everything you said. So thank you.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, for people who want to get involved, where can they go to learn more about the closed beta?
So basically, Polli.co. You guys can sign up to the closed beta. We are preparing for a launch, which we
Sweet.
still, I believe, it's going to be happening in the very near future.
Cool.
But we will obviously drop more info about that. But for now, for anyone who does want to, join our closed beta, Polli.co. Like, I don't know if you see the T-shirt.
Yeah,
or,
yeah. Yep.
here.
Right.
Yeah, just feel free. Love to have you guys. For any Atom holders, soon I believe we're going to go live with Secret and some more protocols coming live as well.
Sick. That sounds awesome, brother. Really stoked for what you're doing, and I really appreciate you being here, Eli.
Thank you, Lex. Thank you, everyone.
Go team, go. Peace, fam.